I would advise you to get over or buckle up because I'm not going away.
Come on, Stephen A., bro. Dogging the black women.
And I hope Jasmine Crockett is listening to this. Is engaging in verbiage and rhetoric for the street. This is my show. I will say what I feel and I will do what I want.
Stephen A. Smith finally apologized to Jasmine Crockett, but it's too late.
I said, that's what they're talking about. When they're saying, you know what, when you question something about her, it's going to invite that. I understand. But we also need to be able to ask her questions. I can look Jasmine Crockett in the face and say, I'm sorry for any kind of noise I caused in your direction.
At a time when the black community is under attack from a more overt racist conservative party than ever before.
Well, Mr. Chairman, though that was unbelievably inspiring, my amendment has nothing to do with whether or not colored people or black people or anybody can serve.
Mr. Speaker.
Skin, what we want to preserve and maintain is the fact that our military does not become a social experiment.
I'd like to be recognized to have the words colored people stricken from the record. I find it offensive and very inappropriate.
To an administration trying to erase black history and take us back to a time before black people had rights.
In less than a year, the Blackout Report has documented more than 15,700 attacks on black progress. $9 million cut from sickle cell research. $42 million pulled from black maternal health programs. More than 6,700 federal data sets erased, from health to housing to justice.
Stephen A. Smith chose to jump into politics with a clearly conservative bias and build his grift off attacking anyone that doesn't agree with Trump, which led to him disrespectfully criticizing and reprimanding Jasmine Crockett.
This educated, brilliant black woman representing over 750,000 people is engaging in verbiage and rhetoric for the streets. And that's fine when you in the streets. How many of y'all bring the streets to the table when you at the negotiating table trying to get a deal done? How many of you are able to think that for a second that you're able to bring street verbiage to Capitol Hill and that's going to work for you?
Who, along with Gavin Newsom, is one of the few voices from the Democratic Party that are standing up, speaking out, and pushing back on Trump. And this administration as a whole, calling it exactly what it is.
Like, this administration is racist. That he has always been a racist, and that is what we are enduring in this country. When I say the things that I say, but I will not stop speaking the truth. And frankly, anybody that knows anything about slave patrols, this is exactly what it was like. We're talking about lawless people that are going around with no warrants or anything, and it's all about rounding people up and disappearing them. That is what's currently taking place.
All while being under constant attack from an administration that disrespects the black community and especially black women.
Jasmine Crockett, remember what I said? Is she a relation to the late, great David Crockett? I don't think so. Jasmine Crockett, let me tell you, before you even ask, she's a very low IQ person. I mean, if we ever had to pass an aptitude test, that's the one should take one because she shouldn't even be in the crowd. So I have no idea what you're going to, but I don't think we should waste our time. This is a low IQ person who I can't even believe is a congressperson.
But this time the people were not going for it. We all understand who Jasmine Crockett is and what she does for us by using her platform to speak up boldly, bravely, and after realizing that he couldn't play both sides, that people were seeing directly through his grip, and he was losing a big part of his audience, Stephen A. finally decided to address his criticism, but again, it's too late. We see through him now.
He's talking about Stephen A. Smith, since you couldn't do the job to see what Jasmine Crockett does, let me do it for you. But she's also part of a few committees in Congress, and if Stephen A. Smith would have done his homework, he would have not made this video. One of the committees she's a part of is the Committee of Oversight and Government Reform, and their job is literally to oversee the efficiency of the government. And Donald Trump does something like mass firing someone who's in an oversight committee overseeing this, yes, we'll get pissed off.
But I'm Jew, welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
I apologize for not speaking about this earlier. If you took a close-up of my face right now, you'll see the right side of my face swollen. I had emergency root canal, double root canal surgery.
This man has been on a Bash LeBron tour for the past week, so him not speaking about this has nothing to do with the root canal or anything else he had going on, because that did not stop him from trashing LeBron.
I don't like his not a little bit. You do not understand the links this man would go to. This dates back more than a decade. I believe he's one way publicly, he's another way privately. You know, he might not be interviewed and he might not be quoted, but the things he says and the things he has said to people, it's gotten back to me. But nevertheless, it is what it is. I'm here right now. I saw something disturbing in regards to President Donald Trump and how he came at Representative Jasmine Crockett. And I wanted to take this opportunity to attack this issue as it pertained to me and Jasmine Crockett because I personally have had an issue with how things have been misconstrued and misinterpreted.
What Trump said about Jasmine Crockett having a low IQ, which is code for a dumb N-word, and that was what a lot of people were saying. You're attacking Jasmine Crockett and criticizing her for how she's speaking up for herself and how she's defending herself and how she's putting pressure on this administration and calling them exactly what they are. But you're not criticizing the right. You're not criticizing the president for how he's disrespecting, attacking, and dismissing Jasmine Crockett, which is the same thing that all these black conservative grifters do. They attack the black community and Democrats without saying anything to white people or conservatives.
And so when somebody says to me, Stephen, rather than point to her and her verbiage and her language and how she talked about the president, what about how he talks? I have no problem with that. I can understand that. And if that is the reason that everybody is in an uproar, that is fine. And I have no problem apologizing to my sister because, damn it, I want her to know. I don't feel that way about her.
You do feel that way about her because he called her street and said she was bringing a street mentality to politics and that wasn't helping anybody. Again, using code words, right? Street means ghetto, basically. And for a black person with a platform that Stephen A. has millions of listeners, millions of followers, to say something like that about a black woman sticking up for black people, because other conservatives will use that talking point that a black man said and then use that against Jasmine Crockett or any other representative of color that tries to speak up. And like I said, conservative or racist ran with that criticism because it's coming from a black man and he said things that they've been wanting to say. Wow, Stephen A. calls out Jasmine Crockett's incompetence live on air. This is what I'm saying. They will weaponize his criticism of her. Scorching hot summation. Stephen A. Smith expounds on Jasmine Crockett. Ouch, feel the burn. They're so happy to be able to say that. Stephen A. Smith calls out Democratic Representative Jasmine Crockett. He's right.
Just like I didn't feel that way about Kamala Harris. Just like I don't feel that way about the marvelous, the wonderful, the incomparable, the greatest first lady ever, Michelle Obama, in my estimation, or anybody else. But what we're going to do on this show is understand who the hell I am and how it's going to be as long as I'm doing this show. I have no problem apologizing if I'm wrong. I have no problem apologizing if I've made somebody feel a certain kind of way. But I'm going to challenge the legitimacy of what people come at me with when I think that challenge is warranted and deserved. If you came to me and you said to me that it came across as a bit dismissive, Stephen, you should have been more protective of her than that because look at how he speaks. Look at how they act on Capitol Hill towards her.
To that point, I do feel like it is the black community's job and duty to protect the voices that we have and the people that are standing up for us and the people that are putting themselves, their names, their reputations on the line for us, for our betterment. Because if people like Jasmine Crockett are out there making statements and she's by herself and we're not defending her however we can, whether that's online or any other way, then we fail as a community because we're not protecting our leaders. We're not protecting the people that are putting themselves on the line for us. And I feel like Stephen A. definitely didn't do that, even if he's a conservative, recognizing that this woman is speaking up for herself, her community, her district, whatever it is, and providing some type of cover. Or if you don't even want to defend her, cool, but don't attack her.
I understand that. But when somebody tries to take that to accuse me of being disrespectful or in any way misogynistic, I'm going to push back on that because that's emphatically false.
He called her street. He said she was being street or bringing a street mentality. He's never said that about Trump or any other conservative, even though Trump attacks people worse than her, even though Trump is more disrespectful and dismissive than anybody else we've seen in politics. But he doesn't say that about Trump. He doesn't say that about anybody on the conservative party, that they're acting like goons or gangsters or thugs. But the black person that speaks up is acting street.
There's no truth to that whatsoever, and I'm not accepting that, and I'm not owning that. I can sit up there and I can look at Representative Jasmine Crockett. Do you know what I think she should be doing? I think she should be competing for the Senate seat in Texas or for the Attorney General spot because she's qualified.
That's beside the point. I
personally think Kamala Harris should have ran for governor of California.
That's beside the point.
I've said it for the record that if Michelle Obama was running for president, she would have beat Trump. That's how I feel. But somehow, some way, it's never enough for some people out there.
Him bigging them up now has nothing to do with his criticism of Jasmine Crockett. He's moving the goalposts and talking about things that weren't in the conversation now.
I understand. I would advise you to get over it or buckle up because I'm not going away.
Neither is the criticism.
This is my show. I will say what I feel and I will do what I want. It doesn't mean I'm going to be insensitive.
And that's fine, but on your show, you're addressing the criticism that you receive unanimously on social media. We all have platforms and voices too that gives us the right to share our feelings and thoughts when we think you're being insensitive or disrespectful from a leader, from somebody from the black community. So nobody has to buckle up or endure any of Stephen A's nonsense.
It doesn't mean that I don't care about our community. A matter of fact, most of the trouble I get in is because I care about our community.
When?
And the reason I'm bringing this up and the reason that I'm willing to attack this subject, because this really ain't about Jasmine Crockett. I respect her. I wish her nothing but the best. I was simply asking a question. That's all. What's working for you?
It's not the question that he asked, what he accused her of, which was being ghetto.
I don't want her to lose the prowess that she has. I want it to continue to gain and elevate. We need resistance to what we see going on in the streets of America.
Stephen A is full of shit. I'm sorry. He said we need resistance to what we see going on in the streets of America, but he's the same one on multiple occasions that has justified what's going on with this administration and what Trump is doing. He's told everybody, Trump is coming, get out of his way. Trump is coming. What else do you expect? This is his revenge tour. They tried to lock him up.
But you know he's coming. And you know part of the reason why is to get back at everybody who tried to take him down. They didn't try to keep him out of the White House and that was it. They tried to throw him in prison. The man is coming and you have to adjust accordingly. All these broadcast corporations have to adjust. Madison Avenue has to adjust. Wall Street has to adjust. It's the real world. I don't like it. I'm alarmed by it. I'm scared of it. But I have to march forward. As do all of you. Part of winning the game is knowing the game you're playing. I asked a question. I get it now with Trump feeding into that nonsense, giving him fodder or ammunition to continue to go out there and talk about our black women that way. I got it. I don't like that at all. I don't want to be associated with nothing like that. And I apologize. Because I respect the hell out of Jasmine Crockett and what she has accomplished. I absolutely do. And I appreciate the fact that she feels compelled to fight the way that she's fought, the way that she fights because of what she's dealing with. I've been a journalist for over 30 years. I don't want enemies. I truly don't. But I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to call it like I see it. It should be done respectfully. It should be done with the sensitivity that it needs to be done with. I get it.
And it should be done without using racist narratives and talking points against people of color. Street, low IQ, hood, thug, any of that should not be in a black person's vocabulary describing another black person with a platform like Stephen A's.
I understand, but I'm going to be me. I'm going to call it like I see it. I can look Jasmine Crockett in the face and say, I'm sorry for any kind of noise I caused in your direction. Because she is accomplished and she is smart and she does have an incredible challenge working in this political climate on Capitol Hill. I got it. And when Trump came at her like that, I said, damn it, I was pissed off because I said, that's what they're talking about. When they're saying, you know what, when you question something about her, it's going to invite that. I understand. But we also need to be able to ask her questions, just like we would ask Kamala Harris questions.
I already said the questions aren't the problem. How he asked the question and everything he added in was the problem. And I don't think the backlash is gonna go away because the mask is off. A lot of people see what he's doing now and what his motives are, which is conservative grifting. Just a plain fuck you.
But Stephen, we still don't believe you. And this was a complete overcompensation because here's the thing, right? You went from, she not acting smart and is that how she gets stuff done? How is it that just last week you did not agree with her approach, you did not agree with her demeanor, and you were dog whistling, basically calling her ghetto? That's what you were trying to do. Now, all of a sudden, she's qualified for Senate and qualified for all of these other things. Your track record up until this point doesn't even suggest that you believe what you just said out of your mouth in support of Jasmine or Kamala. And now we're like, Stephen, we don't know what to believe. He was only doing that to get the approval of white people. But what I honestly think has happened is that he's caught too much flack from black people. Now you want to backpedal.
You don't want to give DT the ammunition to talk or treat black women this way. When you said that you didn't want to give DT the ammunition to talk about black people, you are in fact agreeing that you are targeting black women.
And like I said, he's been telling everybody left and right, Trump is coming, Trump is coming. Get out of his way. Y'all better understand he's coming. Stay out of his way, which is really pathetic when you think of it. Because if something wrong is happening in the country, everybody should be able to stand up in unison and point it out instead of just ducking their heads and hiding until it's over.
How many times, for one incident after another, have I said, Trump is coming? He's coming. I'm going to say it on national television again. Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden you hearing ICE is going to be there, looking to engage in mass deportations. The Super Bowl, disrupting things. Remember, Trump has a long, long history connected to the world of sports because he had those casinos. Where do you think folks were coming half the time? Don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list. Because when you've got all of these protests that have been going out there and people that have been protesting against him and what have you, this man is coming. He's coming. He's coming because in his eyes, folks try to throw him in jail. In his eyes, he's innocent. They try to put me behind bars. I'm getting everybody.
But just like this comment says, the people he's pandering to also hates him. I'm crying. Because Kash Patel actually went on the news to respond to Stephen A. in the most disrespectful way possible.
Stephen A. Smith, the sports commentator, suggested that this was revenge from the president for all the kind of left-wing activism of the NBA. Your response to that, 15 seconds.
I'm the FBI director. I decide which arrests to conduct and which not to conduct. That may be the single dumbest thing I've ever heard out of anyone in modern history, and I live most of my time in Washington, D.C. It's right up there with Adam Schiff. We arrest people for crimes.
Literally getting clowned and laughed at by the people he's grifting for. At the end of the day, Stephen A. isn't going anywhere. His platform isn't going anywhere. He is a master of media, how to make the news, how to go viral, all of that. But I think people that had trust in him before from his years of sports coverage, talking about black sports and black media, have lost that trust because we see him conservative grifting now. We see what side of the fence he wants to be on. We see that he will attack us and our representative if it benefits him to get that conservative bag. And the funny thing is, he will never be conservative enough for the conservatives. His fence sitting will eventually make him a target of them, as you see when people were mad that he apologized to Jasmine Crockett. So it seems like Stephen A. is making enemies everywhere. But like he said out of his own mouth, he's not concerned with making friends. He wants his name to ring out and to get his money, which is what he's doing. But I think we as a black community have to keep calling out these grifters like this and standing up for the people that represent us, because that's the only way to show unity and solidarity. But thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.